I'm going to demonstrate stance. Here's the neutral position. When you go to shake hands, this is one of the biggest things that I like to teach, whether it could be from day one of a kid's career, or it could be at the junior high level, the high school level, the college level, or even moving beyond that, trying to become an Olympic gold medalist. Stance is one thing that isn't really talked about as much as I believe it should be. And again, it's things that we have to critique these guys and every guy on our team on a daily basis. All right, staying in a proper stance and position is one of the hardest things in the sport of wrestling. One, you have to have great conditioning to stay in your stance for the entire length of the match, especially when you start adding other features that we'll talk about throughout this video of motion and stuff. There's several different kinds of stances. The two that obviously are most taught are the staggered stance and the square stance. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the staggered stance, and Jesse Delgado is a heavy lead, left leg lead staggered stance. Zane is a little bit, I would say, of a hybrid. He wrestles in a square stance, he stalks his opponents down, and obviously when he wants to attack, he switches to a staggered. All right, but what I'll talk about first in the from a staggered stance, for me personally, that's one of the biggest ones, is if you're going to attack, you're going to most likely have to attack from a staggered. It's almost impossible to attack from a square stance. Not meaning that it's not great position. And the most important thing throughout this whole process of the stance, in my opinion, is just being in a good stance. Now, the way I learned it growing up in Stillwater, and being taught by, in my opinion, John Smith, who is the greatest American wrestler of all time, is you always want to be between 6 and 8 inches of your lead leg, your lead leg pec to your knee, lead leg knee. All right, so if I'm in a staggered stance, I'm going to go left-handed right now. I'm in a good position. So right here, between here, my lead leg knee, and my pec, it's about 6 to 8 inches. All right, a lot of guys get lazy, and you'll see throughout practice, if you see your kids on your team where they're standing straight up, this is number one rule in our opinion, is if you're staying in good position, you're not only effective offensively, but you're effective defensively. All right, and the one thing that we talk about is if your hands can't touch the mat at all times, that's a good indication that you're not low enough. So for me in a staggered stance, my hands can't touch the mat, I'm probably not low enough. And meaning here, one, I can move. All right, I'm ready to explode. So if I'm going to penetrate, say on my low single or double leg, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to explode off my back foot and go. All right, versus if you're up in your stance, you're being lazy, and then you're going to penetrate, you have to drop levels. All right, your opponent knows if you're wrestling here, and then you drop levels, you're telegraphing your shot. So this is one of the most important things that we'll start off with in every case. Again, from youth all the way to the highest level, if you can get your kids, ingrain it in their minds that you have to stay in position, we're talking about stance, but all it is position at the end of the day. All right, if you're in position constantly, you're more effective offensively and defensively. All right, so from here, in my stance again, the cardinal rule I say is 6 to 8 inches here. If you can put both hands on the mat, you're good. For me, it's my opposite leg hand is always back, and I'm protecting myself defensively here with my lead hand. My lead hand is out in front of me. All right, and in this position here, guys, you can move. All right, you can move at a faster pace, and you can penetrate. Now, once I'm in my stance here, all right, whether I'm defense or offense, all right, I'm in good position. So from a defensive perspective, this is a video that's going to talk about offense and defense from the neutral attacks. All right, so we're really focusing on both. But they tie hand in hand. All right, so once I'm in my stance here, all right, and I'm moving my feet here, I'm in good position to attack. If a guy does happen to attack me, one, he's got to, everyone thinks defense is sprawl. Get your legs back. All right, the higher the wrestling you look, if you watch wrestling closely, and that's my favorite part of the whole sport, is analyzing competitors and seeing where their holes are at. If you analyze wrestling closely, if a guy's in good position, first things first, if you watch international wrestling, a lot of times you see Europeans where they don't even have to sprawl. Mainly because first you have to get through their head. All right, then you have to get through their lead leg arm. Then you have to get through their chest. Then if you happen to get through those three, you get to their leg. If you're moving your feet versus standing in front of a guy, and a lot of guys, especially at the high school level, you'll see a lot of guys, they'll attack. It's one and done. They'll attack, they're back in their stance. For one, usually they're not even in their stance, they're standing upright because it's easier on the legs, it's not hard. But that's what we're really going to focus on here early in this video, is just position and stance. And as basic as this is, guys, if you can get people to buy into this and get kids to really buy in, it'll make a world of difference. I'm going in a staggered stance here, 6 to 12 inches. Okay, I'm in my stance. So from here again, from the offensive position, I'm always ready to penetrate. I'm moving my feet. I'm always ready to attack my opponent here. I'm focused. My defense is better. I'm quicker. I'm light on my feet. All right, most of the weight is on the front of my toes or on the inside of my toes. Okay, I'm not on my heels. All right, and I can react and explode at the same time. Now from there, once I'm moving here, like I said, defensively, these are 4 keys that have to be brought up several times to your athletes. Defensively, when you're in position, head, chest, lead leg arm, then the leg. So if you watch a lot of these guys, I enjoy watching Jordan Oliver too. You know, he's in good position. All right, guys shoot, he doesn't even sprawl, he just lifts. He lifts his leg up here.